Hey, third grade friends, Mrs. Crocker for your next math lesson. I heard through the grapevine that some of you guys were over shapes. So we did most of the unit, but there'll be some that I'm going to skip over so we can move on to the next unit. Unit 7 is all about multi-step problems involving multiplication. So we're going to be talking about multiplication a lot, and you're going to be learning how to do a 2-digit multiplication problem by a 1-digit multiplication problem. So we're going to slowly ease into that a little bit, and then we'll give other things that will be done with that. Like today, we're going to talk about multi-step problems, just kind of a review of that. And then to finish out the year, we're going to be doing fractions, but with an egg carton. Interesting. So if you have an egg carton at home, I would save it towards the end of May. We're going to be using it, which is just a fun little toy. If you don't have one, it's okay. But it'll be fun to do something with when it comes to the fractions that we'll be using. So today what Mrs. Crocker's got planned is we're going to just review the process of solving a multi-step problem, because that's going to become a big thing in 4th grade, which you guys are almost ready for. Crazy. So I'm just going to go over how we should think about and how we should tackle a multi-step word problem. And then I'm going to give you a couple of your own to do, and that'll be it for today. And then next week, we're going to be talking about 2-digit multiplication by a 1-digit. So talk about your multiplications of your 11s and 12s. So if that's something you want to get a start on, go right ahead. We're going to be talking about partial product multiplication, and I'll also show you how to do with base 10 blocks, 3 different ways, and you'll get to choose, and moms and dads can help you with that. Okay, friends? So I'm going to jump right into talking about this multi-step problem. So here we go. Okay, friends. So here's our first word problem for today. Jack bought a sheet of stickers with 2 rows of 4 stickers on it. The stickers cost 9 cents each. How much did Jack pay for the entire sheet of stickers? Okay. So the first thing here is they're giving you a lot of numbers, a lot of information. So what you want to do is you want to break it down. Okay, so what is the problem asking you to actually figure out? Okay, so if we go back and look at the question, it says, how much did Jack pay for the entire sheet of stickers? Now, we know that the stickers cost 9 cents, but we don't know how many stickers there are. So what we need to find out first, before we can find out the cost of all of them, is how many stickers are on one sheet. Okay, so the first thing I would write down is, first, find the total number of stickers. Then find the total cost. Okay, so after I figure out what the number of stickers on one sheet is, then I can find the cost of all of the stickers. Okay, so here's the next part. Well, now they want an equation for the problem. Well, it's a 2-part equation, right? So before we left, we had talked about using parentheses. Remember, parentheses, when you use them, mean do this first. So if we look back at what I said I need to do first, I need to find the total number of stickers. 2 rows of 4. So when it says of, it means you're going to, you're right, multiply. I know I had some friends yelling at me saying, multiply, Mrs. Crocker, times it. So rows is just like arrays. In an array, you multiply. So I have to multiply 2 and 4. So in my parentheses, I'll write 2 times 4. Okay, so that means do it first. 2 times 4. But that's not it. I have another step to find the total cost. And each sticker sheet was 9 cents. When it says each, what does that mean to do? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. You're right, it means to multiply. So right outside, I'll write times by 9. Because whatever the answer to this is, I'll then multiply that by 9. We also, if you look at the rest of the direction, use a letter to stand for the unknown quantity. That just means use a letter, which you can use any letter you want, A through Z, one letter, to stand for what we don't know. And right now, we don't know the total cost. So I'm just going to write S for stickers. Okay, so 2 times 4, then times it by 9 equals S. Now, some of you would have done this into 2 separate equations, which is totally fine. This just makes it a little bit simpler with just one equation. Could I have done 2 times 4 equals 8, and then 8 times 9 equals S? Of course you can, okay? This just makes it simpler, one equation. I don't have to worry about 2 steps. And it's a cool way to use parentheses because, again, in 4th grade, you'll use parentheses. Now, friends, the next one says to actually solve it. So, we know that parentheses mean to do it first. So I'll do 2 times 4. You guys are all great at your 2s, and a lot of you are great at your 4s, too. So 2 times 4 is 8. I knew y'all were saying that because that means to do it first. And then I'm going to times that by 9. Now our 9's facts, that might be a little iffy, okay? You can think of it as 9 times 9 if you know your doubles fact. You can think of it as 9 times 4 and then double that. Or if you already know your 8 times 9, well, 8 times 9 is dun, 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 72. Okay, now there's one thing missing, and my friends, I harass them all the time for it, and I'm sure Mrs. Scott, Mrs. Leach, and Mrs. York do too. You're not done the problem unless you put the unit label. So I need a label. So if I go back up to what we're asking about, what's the entire sheet cost? So it's 72 cents. And the cents is right there. Okay? See? Not too crazy hard, I told ya. Now we'll try one more before I let you go off and do it on your own. Okay? So here we go. Ebony and his sister Tanya are making bracelets to sell at the craft fair. So far, Ebony has made 3 bracelets with 9 beads on each. Ooh, that word each is sticking out to me. We'll come back to it. Tanya has made 4 bracelets with 7 beads each. Ooh, again, the word each. How many beads have they used so far? Okay. So the problem wants to know how many beads Tanya and Ebony have used. But right now, we're missing a piece of information before we can figure out how much they've used together. What we're missing is how much each person used, right? So we're going to have to figure out 3 and 9 and 4 and 7 before we can put it together. Now remember we talked about the word each in the last problem? What does each mean usually to do in a math problem? Multiply. Okay. So we have to figure out what Tanya are first. So I'll write find the amount of bracelet beads each used. Then combine together, right? So we just said. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so now let's make the equation. And I'm going to use parentheses again because we just used them. So it means do it first. So 3 and times 9. Put them in parentheses because I got to do it first. And then how many beads have they used so far together? So when I combine 2 things, that means I'm going to add them together, Tanya and Ebony. So plus 4 and 7. 4 times 7. Okay, so I have to multiply these 2 first, then I can add them. And I'm going to use B for my unknown quantity, my unknown letter. Okay. And then it says, which of these three estimates makes sense? Okay, so if you can estimate, this is like 3 times 10, this is like 30, and this is like 3, I can round it, this is like 32. So I would say 60 is a great estimate for this one. Okay, I could be wrong, but it's just an estimate. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the y right now. Okay, because we kind of just talked about it. Now let's solve the problem. So I've got my equation up here. So I need to know what 3 times 9 is, which, friends, you can do 3 times 10 and take a group of 3 away. If you know 3 times 8 and then add a group of 3. If you know your 3 times 9, which is 27, friends. And then you've got your 4 times 7. So you could do 5 times 7 and take a group away. You could do 2 times 7 and double it, because we talked about doubles fact. You could know 4 times 7. 2 times 7 is 14, so 4 times 7 would be 14 and 14, 28. Now remember, according to my equation, I now need to add these two numbers together. 7 and 8 is 15. 2, 4, 1 is 5. So the answer is 55, but it's not quite done because I need to make my label. 55 beads. Because if I go back up, the question is how many beads? Okay, 55 beads. Okay, friends, so I hope I wasn't too boring, but this is exactly what you're going to do. I am going to assign you 2 word problems, and I'm going to ask you to solve them. Okay, friends? So I hope that you have fun, and I will see you for your next math lesson. Good luck with your word problems. You can do it!